Los Angeles is about to do something almost no Olympic host city has ever pulled off: save billions of dollars. Instead of building flashy new stadiums and drowning in debt like most cities, LA's plan for the 2028 Olympics is simple: reuse what they already have. From the Crypto.com Arena to SoFi Stadium, LA's strategy is all about cutting costs, staying smart, and proving you don't have to break the bank to host the world's biggest sporting event. So the big question is, how did LA pull it off in '84? And can they actually do it again for the 2028 Games? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's be real for a second. Hosting the Olympics is usually a financial disaster. Yeah, it's all about international glory and unity, and those heartwarming underdog stories. But for the cities that actually host the Games, it's often a massive money pit. We're talking billions over budget, mountains of debt, and ghost stadiums no one knows what to do with after the athletes pack up and go home. Take Tokyo 2020, or technically 2021, thanks to the pandemic. Postponing the Games cost Japan an extra $3 billion. And because of COVID, stadiums were empty, tourists stayed away, and the economy took a hit of about $1.3 billion. Brutal, right? But even without a global pandemic, Olympic budgets are notoriously, almost hilariously, inaccurate. Research from Oxford shows that since 1960, not a single Olympics has stayed within its original budget. On average, costs overrun by 172%. Yikes. Just for perspective, London's 2012 Games were supposed to cost $5 billion. They ended up costing $18 billion. And Sochi 2014? Oh, just a casual jump from $10 billion to over $50 billion. No big deal. And here's the kicker. It's not just about the spending. Generating enough revenue to balance the books is a whole other beast. Beijing spent $40 billion in 2008 and earned only $3.6 billion back. London's $18 billion turned into a measly $5.2 billion in revenue. And the promised long-term benefits? You know, job creation, tourism booms, shiny new infrastructure, are often way overhyped. Jobs vanish. Tourists don't come. Stadiums sit empty, costing a fortune to maintain. So yeah, it's pretty easy to see why cities are a little hesitant these days to throw their hat in the Olympic ring. But this is where LA struts in with that classic California swagger. Because back in 1984, LA said, "Nah, we're not going to play that game." Instead of building a bunch of brand new stuff, they used existing venues. They locked down massive corporate sponsorships, and they ended up with a $200+ million surplus. Like, what? Fast forward to today, LA's gearing up for 2028, and they're trying to pull off the same magic trick again. The strategy? You guessed it. Reuse existing venues, cut down on new construction, focus on private funding, keep the city's taxpayers out of the blast zone, and honestly, it's looking pretty smart. LA already has world-class sports infrastructure. Why build a new stadium when you've already got SoFi Stadium, the Crypto.com Arena, the Intuit Dome, and the iconic LA Memorial Coliseum just sitting there, ready to go? Gymnastics? That's happening downtown at the Crypto.com Arena, home of the Lakers, Kings, and Sparks. Swimming. SoFi Stadium's stepping up, and it's expected to seat 38,000 fans for swimming events, making it the largest Olympic swimming venue ever. Basketball? That'll be at the brand new Intuit Dome. Track and field, back to the LA Memorial Coliseum, the only stadium to host track and field events in 3 different Olympics. And get this, for the opening and closing ceremonies, they're splitting them between the Coliseum and SoFi Stadium. Double the drama, double the fireworks. Other events are being spread out across the city, too. The John C. Argue Swim Stadium, also used in the 1932 Olympics, will host diving. BMX, freestyle cycling, skateboarding. That's all happening at the SoFi Basin Recreation Center. Long Beach is picking up more swimming events. Equestrian events? Those are heading to Galway Downs in Temecula. Oh, and shout out to Oklahoma City because they're hosting canoe slalom and softball. Yep, they're getting in on the action too. Now, let's be honest. The real money pit for LA isn't the stadiums. It's transportation. Traffic is basically LA's unofficial mascot. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. So to prep for 2028, LA launched the 28 by 28 initiative. The goal is to complete 28 transportation projects before the Olympics roll into town. Mayor Karen Bass even announced a plan to make the Olympics car-free. Yeah, good luck with that. If there's one thing LA loves more than sunshine and palm trees, it's sitting in traffic. Still, a ton of money is getting pumped into expanding public transit, upgrading metro lines, and adding bike lanes. They're also planning to double Metro's bus fleet by adding 2,700 new buses. And hey, they're even trying to be smart about it by planning to resell the buses after the games to recover some of the costs. Where's all this money coming from? Primarily voter-approved tax increases, Measure R and Measure M, passed back in 2008 and 2016. Technically, these taxes weren't for the Olympics, but surprise, surprise, they're definitely helping to fast-track the timeline now. But here's the million or billion-dollar question. Even with all these smart moves, can LA really stay on budget? The current budget estimate is $6.88 billion. Will they actually stick to it? Probably not. Let's be real. No one ever sticks to the original Olympic budget. But they might come closer than most other cities ever have. And that's saying something. One big reason for optimism is how the LA 28 games are being run. It's not the city's government footing the bill. It's a private non-profit organization headed up by Casey Wasserman. And globally, the whole thing's overseen by the International Olympic Committee, IOC. Revenue will mainly come from three sources: broadcasting rights, corporate sponsorships, and ticket sales. Broadcasting is by far the biggest chunk. Networks like NBC pay billions for exclusive rights. For Tokyo 2020, broadcasting made up 73% of total revenue. No joke. Corporate sponsorships come next, both from global sponsors and domestic ones. Ticket sales are a smaller piece of the pie, but still important. And then there's some revenue from licensing, merch, grants, and donations. Plus, in case of a disaster, literal or financial, the LA 28 group is planning to buy hefty insurance policies. Smart. And just like they did in 1984, the organizers have big plans for any surplus revenue. After '84, that $200+ million surplus seeded the LA 84 Foundation, which still supports youth sports programs today. The hope is that any surplus from 2028 will also fuel long-term good in the community. Now, are there risks? Of course. There's still a very real chance taxpayers could end up footing the bill if things go sideways. There's still a ton of work to do. And let's not even start on potential political or global curveballs that could throw everything off track. But for now, there's cautious optimism. LA isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. They're using what they have. They're leaning on private money. They're being pragmatic. And honestly, it feels like a refreshing approach to a spectacle that's usually anything but practical. So, what do you think? Can LA actually pull off another profitable Olympics? Or are we all just being way too optimistic? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe share it with a friend who's still mad about the 405 traffic. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.